So our speaker today is a wonderful presenter who learned much of what she knows about business from growing up as the youngest of 10 children in Hawaii. Differentiating herself in the shadow of 9 siblings required her to develop and use the sales and negotiating skills that she is famous for today. May McCarthy has become the quintessential serial entrepreneur, starting at the age of 6, where she got her first lessons in food inventory shrinkage, as her brothers literally ate her profits. Over the past 35 years, May has used metaphysical spiritual practices to grow 7 successful businesses in a variety of industries, with the largest company having more than 250 employees and over 100 million in annual revenues. That's nothing to sneeze at. May is a member of the Centers for Spiritual Living in Seattle and has been a grateful student of Ernest Holmes, Charles Fillmore, and their teacher, Emma Curtis Hopkins, and many other New Thought teachers. May now travels the world on purpose to elevate the prosperity and freedom for all, and shares spiritual success principles through her best-selling book, The Path to Wealth. If you don't have it, you want to make sure you get it. May is here today to emphasize the importance of connecting with God as your source of intelligence and abundance to achieve greater levels of success, happiness, and freedom. Christ Universal Temple, help me welcome my sister and friend, Miss May McCarthy.
Thank you. Wow. Okay, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm churched up. That music, was that incredible? Thank you. Thank you all, and thank you. Oh my gosh, I could go home. I'm totally filled up. Happy anniversary. Happy, happy, happy anniversary to all of you. What an accomplishment. What a tremendous accomplishment. 62 years. And you all have made this possible. I don't know if you know this, but if you look at statistics of churches around the world, many of them aren't growing. Many of them have started and failed in the years that you have been growing and thriving. Some would say that your accomplishment has been nothing short of a miracle. A miracle is defined as an extraordinary event that manifests with divine intervention into human affairs. Now, we all know that we're a creation of divine intervention, right? And we know that Spirit works through us to accomplish things, right? So it stands to reason that all of you have been a divine intervention in making this an incredibly successful place for people to come and learn and thrive and prosper. You are manifesting miracles. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'm so grateful to be here today. The title of my talk is The Gratitude Formula. It's based on my second book. And I want you to know that gratitude is a choice, all right? We don't just wake up and feel happy and feel grateful, although that can happen. But gratitude is a choice. And something wonderful happens when we choose to be grateful, even if we're not feeling all that great. Something happens that it actually has been shown in many studies, many scientific and psychological studies, that when you choose to be grateful, it actually improves your health and well-being, okay? But as I was introduced, I'm a businesswoman. I like to succeed in business. I like wealth, which my definition of wealth is to be whole and complete, lacking nothing in every area of your life, not just your finances, but your health, your harmonious relationships, your work or use of skills and talents in remarkable and fulfilling and satisfying ways, your recreation, your spiritual connection. That is to be wealthy, to be whole and complete, lacking nothing. And what I think gratitude does, at least what I've proved over 35 years of choosing to be grateful, is that it makes you magnetic. It makes you magnetic to achieve what you're putting your attention on. Whatever you're grateful for grows. You know, Oprah Winfrey said that when you're thankful for, when you're grateful for something, it tends to grow and multiply. But if you're focusing on lack and what you don't have, guess what happens? You get more of that, right? And I love that you're continuing, even well beyond 62 years, to teach those principles that allow people to use their words, thoughts, and emotions to achieve the life that they love, whatever that may be. You have the power, and congratulations again on your good work. How many of you believe in miracles? Okay, all right. When I was a little kid growing up on the beach in Hawaii, I got a chance to witness a lot of miracles. I saw my older brothers and sisters get in the worst car accidents that I've ever witnessed. They walked away without any permanent damage, when, looking at the car wreck, they shouldn't have even survived. That was a miracle. And I, as a 16-year-old, used to actually compete as a body surfer. Go figure. So I'd go out thinking it was fun and have these, 16 feet of water coming at me, and I'd ride down it on my body. And I had an accident. I fractured my back. The doctor said it was a miracle that I wasn't paralyzed for life. And we had a lot of huge storms that would hit our islands. And some of our friends' homes were left standing with no damage, while all around them it was complete devastation. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. And even our family priest, yes, I was raised in a Catholic family, and even our family priest was diagnosed with terminal cancer and given 6 months to live. And we prayed without ceasing. And he focused and meditated on the fact that with God, all things are possible. He went back to the doctor a month later, completely cured. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. How many of you know someone who has experienced a miracle, or maybe you have yourself? Right. A miracle is an extraordinary event that manifests with divine intervention into human affairs. And what I've learned is that as we use spiritual principles that are taught in centers like this one, as we use our words, our thoughts, and our emotions, combined with the choice to be grateful, and we laser that attention onto something that we intend to happen for our good. And our good can be relationships, health, money, work, recreation, and spiritual connection. When we use these techniques that we're taught here and put our attention with gratitude on what we desire as part of our wonderful life that we want to live, we can actually enable miracles to happen. We can have them happen so often that miracles just become typicals. Would you like that? Oh, great, great. I'm so glad. You know, I have a a name for God. I'm a CEO of companies. And so I surround myself with people whose advice I value. I have a chief financial officer, a chief operations officer, a chief marketing officer, a chief information officer, all these people that advise me. They are subject matter experts. They know what they do. And I decided I wanted to bring God as an ultimate advisor into my business and my life. And so in doing so, I thought I needed to bring it into my C-suite. So I gave it a title. I call it the Chief Spiritual Officer, or CSO for short. And my success, I'm confident, has been due to using my words, thoughts, and emotions in partnership with my spiritual partner, the CSO, and making sure that I'm being grateful for what I want as though I've already achieved it. Would you all agree with that? Amen? All right, so what I've recognized is that we can do a few things, and I outline these in my books, The Path to Wealth and The Gratitude Formula, but we can do a few things on a regular basis to enable miracles to show up more often in our lives. And I've given you a few notes. If you look in your bulletin, it says The Gratitude Formula, and then there are a few points there that I'm going to go over with you. And if you don't have a bulletin, please raise your hand. Maybe an usher can bring you one. But I want you to have these notes. I think it's very important for you to recognize these. This is going to show you how you can use your spiritual practice to achieve more of the life that you love. And it's also going to help you understand how your brain is wired. Okay, and how that can help or hinder you. The first point is that repetition reaps rewards. Say that with me. Repetition reaps rewards. All right. You know, Florence Scovel Shinn, how many of you know that author, Florence Scovel Shinn? She wrote a great little book in 1925 called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And I looked in your bookstore yesterday, and they sell it. So if you haven't read it, I encourage you to get it. But she said that we can't always control our thoughts, but we can control our words. And through the repetition of our words, through the repetition of our spiritual practice, we can impress our subconscious and then become masters of any situation. We can enable miracles to happen. In 1994, I had a goal that I was using my spiritual practice and gratitude for, and that was, I am so grateful that I am whole, healthy, and complete in a body that is filled with energy and vitality and easily moves through life. Every day, I am just being grateful for that. And in 1994, I had this flash, this picture of my sister's face in my mind's eye. Anybody ever have just a strong thought that flies into your head out of the blue? Yeah. Well, having practiced this a while, I knew this was my CSO. This was my spiritual advisor. This was God giving me an intuitive direction to contact my sister. So I happened to be close to her office, and I just stopped by. She was so happy to see me. She had a computer problem that I could fix for free. And as I'm sitting there at her computer, she noticed this little tiny dot on the outside of my right leg. Very, very tiny little dot. And she asked me what it was. Well, you heard in the introduction that I'm from Hawaii, and I'm fair. I have a lot of freckles. So that's what I told her it was. I mean, teeny tiny little dot. It had been there forever. I said it was a freckle, and she said she didn't feel that it was a freckle. And she asked if I would go see her dermatologist and have it looked at. Well, my rational mind, of course, is saying, May, you're too busy. You've always had that dot on your leg. Don't worry about it. Just dismiss her fear and get on with life. Sound familiar? Yeah. So I was just about to do that, and my gut hurt. Anybody have their gut hurt? Yeah. Again, I've been doing this a while, and I knew that was spirit trying to get my attention. So I thought, oh, well, what'll be the harm, right? I'll just go make an appointment, and I should probably establish a relationship with a dermatologist anyway. So I went. Dermatologist said, May, it's nothing. It's nothing to worry about. It's too small. It can't possibly be anything. Go home. Honey, don't worry. Go home. And I was just about to heed the doctor's advice. And my gut hurt again. I had a choice to make. So I followed the doctor's advice, and my dad was a surgeon, so that was a tough one. Do I follow the doctor's advice, or do I follow God's advice? I chose God. I asked him to please cut it off. I said, Doctor, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I really don't. But you need to cut that off and have it diagnosed. I came back a week later to a diagnosis of cancer. I had malignant melanoma, Clark's level 3. Clark's level 3. But because it was caught so early, all I had to do was have simple surgery. I didn't have to go through chemo. I didn't have to do any radiation. I didn't have to do anything else since 1994, and I've been cancer-free ever since. That's a miracle. But my use of gratitude and proclaiming that I am whole, healthy, and complete, that I am, every cell and function of my body operates in the perfection of God's design. Because I was grateful for that in advance, I know that that enabled Spirit to show up in a more obvious way, to guide me to make those statements true. So repeating your goals with gratitude on a daily basis is important. What I realized is that so many people think that this idea of success, is reserved for only a few, is sort of that successful people have a secret that other people don't have, and I will say that that is so not true. You are created in the likeness and image of God, and you absolutely know everything. Now, it's revealed to you. It's revealed to you so that you can understand it when you call on the Lord, when you get into a spiritual practice and you commune on a daily basis. So repetition reaps rewards. That's the first point, right? Everybody got that? Now, there are lots of systems for success out there, and you've already proved how powerful you are. How many of you have driven home after work, from work, and you got home and you don't remember large parts of your drive home? Yeah? Yeah. As Florence Scovel-Shinn said, you mastered the situation. You used repetition. When you first got behind the driving wheel of a car, the steering wheel, could you drive perfectly? No. You had to practice. You had to use mental and physical effort to figure out how to drive. You saw your friends and your family drive. You knew it was possible. And how about learning how to type on that crazy keyboard that's not even in alphabetical order? Right? That took mental and physical repetitive effort. Repetition reaps rewards. Now, don't you know some people that can type faster than you can talk? That's crazy. And how about learning how to ride a bike? I don't know about you, but I crashed a lot. I had to really think about it, and I imagined being on a bike and sailing down the street, and I watched my brothers and my family and my friends ride a bike. I knew it was possible. And I practiced, and I repeated, and I dreamed about it, and I thought about it, and I learned to ride a bike. I haven't ridden a bike in, probably 10 years, but I could get on a bike tomorrow or today, and I could ride a bike. I mastered the situation. And I bet you have too. And what about learning to read? Didn't you sound out each letter and then put it into a word and then a sentence and then a paragraph and a story? Remember how much effort that took? Repetitive effort. And now can't you just skim entire pages and get the same understanding? Yeah, you mastered the situation. You've proved that repetition reaps rewards. There are lots of systems for success out there. Lots and lots of systems. In business, what we do is we have our managers and our executive teams establish goals that all of us are aware of. And we measure our success against them, and we revisit our goals often. In athletics, to perform at their highest level, they use mental and physical training every single day. And musicians, don't you do the same? You practice to perform at your highest levels. And in spiritual organizations, what do? We pray without ceasing, right? We use confidence and faith. We use our words, thoughts, and emotions to declare that something is so. We repeat in order to really anchor it within us and know that truth. And what I do in the spiritual practice that I teach, in fact, thank you to all of you who came yesterday to the workshop. That was a lot of fun. Really grateful that you were there. But what we practiced was a very efficient system for success, a very efficient way to partner with God on a daily basis and have a goal planning meeting. You've got your job, which is to figure out what it is that you want, and Spirit's got Spirit's job. God has God's job, which is to create the path for us to get there and to give us one step to take at a time. Right? So that's what we do on a repetitive basis. And as we do that, we can enable Spirit and our subconscious to show up more often in more obvious ways to guide and direct us to the accomplishment of our goals, to the manifestation of our miracles. Would you like that? Excellent. Well, the second point is that you need to recognize that your strong beliefs and behaviors can get in the way. Our brains are wired at this stage of our life with all of our experiences accumulated over a lifetime. All of the beliefs and behaviors that we've had to this point in our life, our brain remembers. So you've got some strong beliefs. You've got some very, very strong beliefs. And when those beliefs say that only this is possible, where do you leave room for God to show up? Okay? See, our brains remember every time we've had a goal in the past that we didn't achieve. And it remembers how disappointed we were. And it loves us. And it doesn't want us to be disappointed again. So in an effort to protect us, if our brains don't see that you believe that achieving something is possible, our brains are going to try and protect us and essentially put Spirit's messages on mute. You're not going to notice Spirit's messages if you haven't shifted your beliefs. Now, science has actually caught up with this, okay? And what science has shown is that we have these neural pathways in our brains. And these neural pathways can be very strong and large and deeply grooved in our brain. Those really deeply grooved neural pathways are associated with deeply grooved beliefs. That's why we can sometimes feel stuck in a rut, all right? It's a big groove. But the good news about that is we can do some things to shift our beliefs and strengthen a different neural pathway. And this neural pathway is all about possibility. As soon as we shift our beliefs to possibility, Spirit's intuitive directions just open. It's like the heavens open and avalanches of information come to guide and direct us to achieve what we want. Let me give you an example. A friend of mine is a woman who was born well after her siblings. It's like after her parents were done having kids, 12 years later, surprise, my friend was born. And what she was told ever since she was a little girl was that after seeing her grandparents and her parents and her oldest sibling get diabetes, she was told that she was going to have diabetes. It was predestined, it was hereditary, there was nothing she could do about it. And she took a workshop from me and she said, I don't want to have diabetes. I said, that's good. That's good. Let's use your daily practice and proclaim what you do want with gratitude. So she started writing down, I'm so grateful that I'm physically fit, trim, toned, energetic, and a healthy, pain-free body, where every cell is operating in the perfection of design that God created. Every day. She's reading it out loud, and she's absolutely grateful for that manifesting. About a few weeks later, she came to me and she said, May, I feel like a fraud. I feel like a fraud because this idea of something being hereditary and predestined makes me feel so insignificant. I feel that I can't affect this outcome. And my response was, you can't, but God can. But God can. So let's shift your beliefs to be on par with God's beliefs, where all things are possible. Okay? So I asked her to do a few things. I asked her to go out and meet some people and to get some books and stories about people who had been diagnosed with some terminal or some really awful diseases and things like that and overcame those. I asked her to go find people at different meetups and different health groups and things like that and learn their stories. How did they move from a diagnosis that looked awful to a whole and healthy and complete life? I asked her to make what she wanted familiar and welcome. Start identifying with these other people's stories while she's doing her daily practice and meeting with her divine advisor, with God, every single morning to have a goal planning meeting. And she did this. So she did this for quite a while and then found that she was invited to a health and fitness program. She continued with that program. She met a whole bunch of new friends. And after several months, she found that she was 40 pounds lighter. She went to her doctor, and the doctor said, there's no reason that you need to ever be diagnosed with diabetes if you keep up with this health and wellness. So make what you want familiar and welcome while you're recognizing how your brain works. The third and final point is that you have to take action. When you make what you want familiar and welcome, you've got to take action. If my friend hadn't taken action to actually go and find people that were experiencing the kind of good that she wanted, experiencing the kind of miracle that she wanted, she would not have shifted her beliefs, and she would not have been able to realize the good that she wanted. So when you get an intuitive direction from Spirit, a gut instinct, a strong thought, an idea to go somewhere, to call someone, to do something, take action. And if you're not sure, just ask God to give you a confirming sign. All right? Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for being here. You are all ministers. You are all examples for other people to learn from. You are all showing people in just your being present, you're showing them that all things are possible with God. I know that you will continue for more than 62 more years to bless your community, to bless each other, to bless the city, the state, the country, and our world. May you be blessed and prospered, happy and healthy. Thank you very much.